You had your first child, and everything seemed to go just fine. But now, months, maybe even years later, you're finding yourself asking the same question over and over again. Why isn't it happening a second time? Well, that is the exact mystery we're going to dive into today.
This quote, wow. It's from a woman who is going through this exact thing, and it just perfectly captures that feeling, doesn't it? That you're stuck in a loop, just waiting for a season finale that never, ever seems to come. It's a really powerful and for so many, a deeply relatable feeling.
So what is really going on here? We're going to treat this like a real investigation. We'll be the detectives, searching for clues and identifying the main suspects behind this whole frustrating mystery. Ready?
Okay, every investigation has to start somewhere. And for us, that starting point is the most obvious one. Suspect number one, the ovaries. This is where a lot of the common issues and honestly, a lot of the confusion usually starts. All right, let's clear something up right away because this one gets confusing for a lot of people. When we say polycystic ovaries, picture a cluster of tiny grapes. It's a bunch of small follicles that are all trying to emerge at once. But an ovarian cyst is something totally different. That's just one single follicle that got way too big. We're talking over 22 millimeters.
Now, within that world of cysts, there's a specific type you really need to know about, called a chocolate cyst. Yeah, it's a weird name, but it gets it because it's filled with blood. And here's the key. Unlike a simple water cyst that might just go away on its own, this type often needs surgery to get it out of there and really improve your chances.
So how would you even know if this first suspect is at the scene of the crime? Well, here are the clues you got to look for. Things like your periods getting all irregular, coming too late or way too early, or hormonal imbalances that might show up as, say, excess hair growth, even just gaining weight for no reason you can pinpoint.
All right, let's build on that, because that leads us right to our next suspect. This one's more of an unexpected intruder, a really powerful force that can quietly mess up the whole system from behind the scenes. And that force is your hormones. And I love this slide. To really get a handle on our next hormonal suspect, I want you to just imagine an overbearing mother-in-law. You know the type. She shows up unannounced and just completely takes over your house. Because that is exactly how one very important hormone can act.
We're talking about the hormone prolactin. So when its levels get high when they're not supposed to, it's just like that visit. First, she arrives, your prolactin rises. Next, she takes over, and ovulation just stops. No parties allowed, right? The uterine lining doesn't develop, and your period stops too. It's only when she finally leaves, when those prolactin levels drop back to normal, that life can finally get back on track.
Okay, so far we've been investigating physical suspects. You know, things a doctor can actually see on a scan. But what if the biggest culprit in this entire mystery is something you can't see at all? Something silent and completely invisible.
That silent, invisible enemy is stress. It is such a powerful force, and it can actively sabotage your body's natural processes without you even realizing just how much damage it's doing.
So here's how it works. When you're super stressed, your body gets flooded with a hormone called cortisol. It basically puts you into survival mode. And when your body is in survival mode, it sends a crystal clear message to your reproductive system. It's screaming, hey, we are in a crisis here. This is not the time to get pregnant. Shut it all down.
And here's the thing about stress. It rarely acts alone. It almost always has these hidden accomplices, partners in crime. And one of the biggest ones is nutrition, or more accurately, a lack of it.
Think of constant stress like a thief that's just depleting your body of all the good stuff. These essential vitamins and minerals are basically fleeing the crime scene. The biggest fugitives on this wanted poster are iron, zinc, magnesium, and the most wanted of them all, vitamin D. And this all connects back to our physical state in a very real way. I mean, there is a direct line between our weight and our hormones. For example, excess weight, especially around the middle, can actually lead to higher levels of male hormones, which throws the whole cycle off. The solution? Try cutting back on sugars and starches. Same with inactivity. It creates hormonal chaos. But the fix can be as simple as just getting out for a 15-minute walk every day.
So, we've done a lot of investigating ourselves, right? We've uncovered some pretty big clues and identified some key suspects. But you know what? Every good investigator knows exactly when it's time to call in the expert.
So, when is it time to put down your magnifying glass and pick up the phone? You need to sound the alarm bells immediately if you experience any of these red flags.
We're talking severe abdominal pain, a period that's just really unusual for you, an extremely late cycle, or a flow that's way heavier than normal. These are absolute, non-negotiable signs to go see a professional.
And that brings us to the final and most important point. Solving this mystery is a partnership. It's a team effort. Your role is to focus on your lifestyle, things like movement, nutrition, and managing that stress we talked about. The doctor's role, that's the medication, the tests, and the expert guidance. Together, you and your doctor are the team that's going to crack this case.
We've laid out the clues, we've identified the suspects, and we have a plan of action. You are now the lead investigator of your own health. So the only question that's left is the one right here. What is your next step?